lost to a really good team. Nobody quit. Nobody threw the towel in. They're a heck of a team. You know, they're the Stanley Cup champions back-to-back for a reason.
What's the difference in the series?
I mean, obviously their forecheck was great. They tilted the rink. They were able to kind of stay on top of us all over the place. Never really able to generate any momentum up the ice. You know, we kept fucking trying the same thing over and over again, just banging our heads against the wall. So, credit to them. They played well.
You guys played a pretty good first period. 2 mistakes and something in back, and then I guess is that the way you kind of play mistake-free hockey?
Yeah, we kept on saying we want to try to win a 2-1 game. Never found a way to do that, obviously. They got great players. You know, how many guys had 20-plus points in their postseason? You know, they're as deep as it comes. Yeah, 2 mistakes. You know, you're right. I thought we played a pretty good period. 2 mistakes and chasing again.
Connor, you came into the playoffs with a lot of confidence and belief in this group. What's the takeaway here with the group and how far you did?
Still a lot of confidence and belief. You know, I don't think people thought we were going to make it this far. You know, we obviously believed. Came up just a bit short again.
Every group is different. What do you remember about this group?
We became together at the right time, I would say. You know, a lot of difficult circumstances coming down the stretch and injuries and guys fighting through things and guys just coming. You know, we just found a way to get here. You know, obviously didn't find a way to get enough, but yeah, credit to a lot of guys.
Look at the core of this team. You feel you're going to get a few more kicks of this can here? Just the way that the core of the guys you have on this team.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sure.
The game you had was strong enough to go through the West pretty well, right? You beat good teams out there, you beat them in 5 games. When it comes up against Florida and you couldn't solve Florida. You know, what should we think about a Florida team that's that much better than the opponents you face getting?
Yeah, they're a really good team. I said it many times already. Very deserving. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. They were really good. No? Yeah, you don't think?
Have you seen anything specific from the game?
Nothing to say, really. You know, obviously everyone's disappointed. Thanks.
What was the difference in this series in your mind?
Just mistakes. Yeah. Just one-on-one battles, mistakes.
Leon, the last 2 games here, you guys managed 3 goals. What do you think kind of happened offensively? Was it something they were doing, or something you guys weren't doing a lot?
They defend well. We couldn't get enough looks.
What we remember about this group, Leon, you guys really battled?
Yeah, we battled, but we're not leaving here as winners. So, yeah.
You say they defend well. It was tough for you guys to go close to the net. It seems like it was like that, at least for the last 2 games. Do you feel that?
Yeah. They box out well, defend well.
Does it hurt more a second time?
Always hurts. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's not more or less. It's just the same.
You talked this morning about having always playing from behind. How much of that was so typical in this series?
Yeah, too much.
And you guys came in with a lot of belief and confidence in this group. I'm talking about going into the playoffs. To get this far, what's maybe the takeaway from
The takeaway is that we didn't win. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. We didn't win. So, yeah, gonna try again next year.
Is there something that stands out as far as what some of the answers could be here, or is it too early?
I mean, there's little things, little mistakes that, we obviously need to learn at this stage, and but yeah, it's fresh right now.
Leon, did this feel like a better Florida team than even compared to last year, and how that series went?
Yeah, I think they were better. Yeah.
In what way?
Just deeper. I mean, their third line scored how many goals? until tonight, it wasn't their top two lines really. It was, the third line that, did a lot of damage. So I think they're just deeper.
What's it like processing the emotions at this moment?
Obviously it's really fresh, so I'm still processing it. I'll process it some more after once we get back to the hotel here, but yeah, it's tough. There's not really too much else to say.
From your perspective, what was the difference in the series as a whole?
In my opinion, I think it was just consistency. I think that was honestly it. They played a consistent game. They didn't change once through the whole series. I felt like our game was up and down a little bit here and there. And, that's how they play. They play that game all year, and it goes into playoffs, and they stick to it. They do the exact same thing every night. In our game, we weren't as consistent as they were.
Is there a sense that consistency kind of wore you guys down as the series went on?
Yeah, I think so, especially if bounces go a certain way. Like if you look at Game 2, second overtime, they score a goal. The next game, they're doing the exact same thing. They're not changing. And I think that's kind of when things shifted a little bit. I thought we kind of got away from the script, and momentum's a pretty big part in playoffs.
Are there lessons to be learned in that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure there's lessons. There's lessons as individuals, how you can show up better, how you can react better to certain situations. Also as a team, how we need to learn from this right away. We need to learn from this right now. Letting it happen 2 times in a row, is devastating.
Carey was one of the first one to give you a big...
Sorry, can you start over?
Was one of the first one to give you a big hug at the end of the game. Was there any exchange of word between you and Carey?
Yeah, he brought tears to my eyes, what he was saying, and I'm going to keep that for my heart.
What did you see? What did you see on the third goal? They scored 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was a nothing shot. I tried to squeeze it in my arm, popped out. He shot it at the blocker side, which is smart, but I put it in a spot that I thought was going to be okay. Obviously wasn't for a second, and then he just shot it on the backside, and then Reinhardt's in a good spot. So it goes from a nothing shot, but that's what you got to do. That's how goals go in, especially in the playoffs. Guys are just around the net, and I think for Florida, they did a great job at eliminating that.
This was a roller coaster season, a roller coaster playoff. What do you remember about this group?
About this group, a little bit of the same story as last year, just you can never count us out. I think with our group, it was even more so if once we got rolling, I think we were unbeatable. I think that's kind of the story for our team.
Wasn't it the same after the first period that it was the previous game?
Yeah, for sure. We had some really good motivation to get going. I think that third goal a little bit later in the second period, I think that's kind of what killed us a bit, but we still had belief going into the third. Believe me, they scored the fourth, and we were at the bench and we were like, hey, you're coming back out, you're coming back in the bench, we're going to do this. So I don't think for a moment we lost belief until obviously there's 5 minutes left of the game. It's 6-0 or whatever it was.
Still, you beat 2 really good teams in Vegas and Dallas, steamrolled. Is Florida just that much better, or did your team just not play?
I think Florida just played a consistent game. That's honestly the end of the story. They played the same way every single night. Nothing changed for them, win or lose. Bobrovsky lets in 6 or 5. He's doing the same thing the next day. Their team isn't changing anything, and they just kept coming. And I thought we did that for the first 2 games, and then we sort of just changed, and from there we were kind of having some peaks and valleys, and they were just good old Florida Panthers.
That series felt like the tank was in.
Sorry, I'll take yours.
Do you try and learn from that yourself as a goalie? Because Bob was in your shoes at one point before he became as consistent. Do you kind of look at that and say, that's the trajectory I want to be on?
I sure hope so. It's my third year in the league. He's 36, obviously, been playing for 14 years. You can tell because he is, nothing changes for him. You know, you can tell mentally that he's in the same spot, whether he lets in 6 or he gets a shutout. You know, I couldn't tell a difference from game 1 to the last 2 minutes when he knew that he won the Stanley Cup. He didn't change for 1 second. I would love to get in touch with him and ask him how I could fill his shoes and how I could you know, do that. Definitely hoping that that's my trajectory, but you know, that's going to have to come from me, my hard work.
Did you feel like you changed in the series, back and forth?
My opinion, I think I showed up the same way. I thought results changed, as they always do, but I think for myself personally, I stayed pretty consistent. I was in my bubble. I was doing my own thing. It's weird being a goalie sometimes in a team sport because sometimes you feel like you're an individual in a team game.
Stu, your team led for 33 minutes in the series. The other guys led for 250 or something. Mentally, was it just difficult to just always be looking at the scoreboard and seeing that you weren't ahead?
Absolutely. For myself as well, after every first period, I let in 2 goals. And that's hard to take, especially when you got to play them 6 times. In my case, less, but yeah, when you play them consistently and they're just always ahead, I mean, it's a killer. You're always working to get ahead of them. You're always, you know, opening up so that, you know, they're going to get more chances because, you know, you got to go for it. So yeah, as a way to just give them a harder time is for sure getting the lead earlier and keeping it is the big thing.
Last year it felt like the tank was empty when you arrived in the final. How was the tank this year?
The tank? What do you?
The energy.
Oh, the energy. After?
But when you arrived in the final, was it better this year than last year? Last year it felt like the tank was empty.
I'm so sorry. I don't really understand. So, like when the series started?
When you started.
Oh yeah. No, I felt like the tank was really good. I felt like the energy again. Like we had such a different feeling going into this year. But just because feelings are different doesn't mean you know, things are going to be different. But I felt like for our tank, we definitely had a lot in us.
Without saying what was the word of Curry, how special is Curry as a teammate?
Oh man, he's one of the greatest teammates I've ever had. Ever since he came in, you know, being able to meet him, being able to hang out with him, he's been nothing but one of the best teammates I've honestly ever had. So there's not enough things that I can say about him, just on his character, how he is as a father, as a husband, as a teammate. I mean, he was playing out there like it was his second year in the league. He was incredible this whole entire time. He's been incredible for us ever since he's been here.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thanks, guys.
Kris, what was the difference in this series?
You know, so many things have to go your way. You know, even our first 3 series, things went our way. We got timely goals at certain times. Maybe a power play call or put us on the power play, whatever it is, or a timely save. I don't think any time during the series we were able to do that. And you look at even tonight, you know, I thought we had a good start. We make a mistake, and now we're down 1-0. You know, we had chances to score early. We didn't. You know, like the goal that we got at the end of the game obviously didn't mean anything, but certainly we felt like in that opportunity to get a break like that earlier, and we never got those breaks. So, and it's tough. You got to play to get those breaks, but I just felt that a lot of times we just couldn't get that puck in the net.
Stay in that same role.
Kris, Connor said earlier in the series that you didn't feel you'd played your best game, but it was coming. Leon said, you know, I think it was today that you know, didn't feel like your best game had been there. Why do you think your team wasn't able to hit the high level that you're accustomed to, and how much of that had to do with Florida?
Yeah, credit to Florida. They're a fantastic team. They've got a lot of good players, and you look at how that roster is made up, and you know, and anytime we did get through it, their goalie played extremely well. You know, we had our chances, but we couldn't break, especially early in games. You know, the scoring was very lopsided in the first period and was again tonight, but I didn't feel that the chances were skewed that heavily. I thought we had good starts and just couldn't get the puck through him, and if we get those through as the goalie, then it's probably a different type of game. But they got a great team, and like I said, anytime we were able to get some scoring chances, their goalie played extremely well throughout the whole series.
Left side, front row.
Kris, you guys led this series for like 33 minutes. The other guys for 250. Does it continually for 2 weeks looking up at a scoreboard that has you behind? How's that work psychologically on a team?
I don't know. It's each game, we're not taking notes about how much we're trailing, how much we're ahead, because after each game, it just comes down to winning and losing, and it makes it really hard when you don't have a lead to overcome a really good team and a really good team with a good goaltender. So, just fortunately or unfortunately, we just couldn't score those early goals.
Right side, front row.
Kris, does this one feel a little different just because of the unconventional road you guys got here to get here? So many injuries at the end of the season. A lot of people didn't expect you to get past Los Angeles, and then just to get here and come up against a good team like that.
No, there's no silver lining to this. It's still heart-wrenching. It's very difficult to handle right now. No, it's just because we were maybe the underdogs going to the LA series, underdogs against Vegas, Dallas series. It hurts right now, and I don't think it's going to let up for a while.
Right side, second row.
Kris, you win the first game of the series and you have it tied through 4. You're right in the thick of it. But given the way this ended, does it feel further away than maybe it did last year?
Well, yeah, it feels farther away. We went to Game 7 last year. I certainly felt things could have been a lot differently. We were probably overall healthier last year as a whole, but we had everyone in the lineup. This year, obviously, missing Hyman was a big hole for us. But, I think it was... Obviously, last year we were a lot closer because we went to Game 7, and that Game 7 was so close. So, yeah.
Stay in that same row.
Kris, for Stuart, it was kind of a roller coaster ride throughout the whole playoffs, not just the final, but also the final. But I'm just curious, what you saw from him as he kept coming back and trying to give you guys the game that you needed.
Yeah, no, credit to him. Credit to all the players. I thought they're very passionate, and they're very their hearts were in it, and they want the team to have as much success as possible. And Stu was among them, and there's nothing that I thought he gave us solid goaltending, and when he didn't, Picks came in and made up for that, and so we didn't lose this on Stu not playing on his game at all.
Right side, front row.
Kris, can you talk about sort of your search to try and find combinations that would click for you? Some guys in and out of the lineup. But you also made a switch really early in this game to go to McDavid and Draisaitl. Did you kind of have that planned, or can you just take us through sort of the mechanics of that decision early?
Yeah. Well, through those games, I think we, like I said, I think we started off well. Midway through the first period, making mistakes, and then kind of falling back behind. So same thing tonight. I thought we were off to a great start, and it looked like, why would I change it? But those games 3 through 5 were very similar to that, and they started to take over in the second half of that period. And right when we made that switch of putting those two on that line together, which was the plan, we get scored against. And then once we were chasing it, we were almost fully committed to, because we're chasing the game, having those two together. So, yeah, so yes, it was the plan.
Same row, other end.
Kris, you talked about the roller coaster in the playoffs, the injuries at the end of the season, the team facing a lot of adversity. What will you remember about this group of players?
Sorry?
What will you remember about this team, this group of players?
Oh, the guys that fought really hard. Even talked about earlier about being a resilient group. Like, we saw it more last year just because our backs were against the wall more often. But going this year, it was alluded earlier that we were an underdog throughout the playoffs. And for us to get to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, being a bunch of underdogs, it's a pretty good accomplishment. Unfortunately, it hurts just because we felt that we could have won it all. And, getting so close last year and getting so close this year, a lot had fallen into place, and it did very early in the playoffs. So I'm very, very happy about the guys. They gave a tremendous effort, and it's going to be a long summer.
Thanks a lot, Kris.